I did not expect to be making a trade video today, but we got some breaking news from Mark Feinsand about a trade between the Chicago White Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Apologies if I look tired, sound tired. I was playing MLB The Show all last night. If you guys didn't know, I'm going to be streaming it on Twitch, twitch.tv/GiraffeNeckMarc, as well as I'm uploading Road to the Show content on my gaming channel, GiraffeNeck Gaming. Links to all that will be in the description. But enough of my seamless segue plug. Let's actually talk about this trade where AJ Pollock is going from the Los Angeles Dodgers to the Chicago White Sox in exchange for Craig Kimbrel. And honestly, I think this trade has benefits for both sides. I mean, the Dodgers are getting their new closer in Craig Kimbrel, and the White Sox are getting the outfielder that they need in AJ Pollock. But have no fear, I'm going to dive deep into this trade along with all the moves that have been going on around Major League Baseball and all the rumors. So make sure you guys do stick around for that video. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Drop a like on the video as it really does help the video get into that algorithm. And get in the comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. Do you like this trade for the Dodgers? Do you like it for the White Sox? Or hey, do you think that it's good for both? I mean, this is a trade we haven't really seen in a while where kind of two mid-level, borderline, all-star-ish players get traded for each other. And I think it ends up being positive for both sides because, of course, as we know with the White Sox, they have three guys who could legitimately be closers for most teams in Major League Baseball between Liam Hendricks, formerly Craig Kimbrel, and Kendall Graveman. That was a pretty ridiculous 7th, 8th, 9th inning right there. Once the White Sox have leads in games, it's going to be hard to get it back for them. But also, they didn't really want to pay Craig Kimbrel that money, and they traded him for AJ Pollock. The money is going to end up being kind of relatively similar. It's not too bad when you're thinking of the financials of both teams going back and forth. And again, if I'm squinting, I'm sorry. My eyes are so dry from playing video games all night. And yeah, they're trading away Craig Kimbrel, and they're getting AJ Pollock, who's coming in and giving them that outfield depth help that they need. It's something that I thought was going to be filled by a guy like Michael Conforto, who is still available on the free agent market. We'll talk about him a little bit later in the video. Now, for you White Sox fans at home, AJ Pollock is a very, very good outfielder. He's going to fit extremely well in the corner. Putting him next to Luis Robert in that outfield is going to be a pretty strong defensive outfield. And while he hasn't played like 130, 140 games since what, 2015? It's mostly because since he went to the Dodgers, he's been more of a platoon guy, and the numbers have been extremely strong. Last year in 117 games, AJ Pollock hit 21 homers, 27 doubles, 69 RBIs. Nice, with a 297 average, 355 on base, 536 slugging, and an 892 OPS. Good for an OPS plus at 137. Like, AJ Pollock can rake, and even in the short season, 132 OPS plus. And I know that I said he was more of a platoon guy. I lied. I'm sorry. I apologize. I know in the past he had been used as more as a left-handed pitching outfield type guy, but he was actually good against both sides last year in 117 games. There's always that injury factor with AJ Pollock. He's a dude who gets a little nicked and bruised here and there, and he does get hurt every once in a while. But when he is on the field, AJ Pollock's a very valuable player. He was like a 3-win player according to Baseball Reference War last year. I really like this pickup by the Chicago White Sox, and they have the option to buy him out after this season if they don't want to continue on with the AJ Pollock contract. So to me, this feels like a pretty good trade in terms of what the White Sox are getting back. You add him into a lineup now that has Luis Robert, that has Eloy Jimenez, that has Yasmani Grandal, Tim Anderson, Yoan Moncada. I'm sure I'm missing some names, but this White Sox team is pretty loaded, and I do think that while they are losing a good reliever in Craig Kimbrel, as we saw in the setup role, not as effective as he was as a closer, which is all a mental thing, of course. But AJ Pollock's going to help this team, and I like this addition. Also, AJ Pollock just feels like a Tony La Russa guy. Something that they have done all offseason, seemingly, is get Tony La Russa type players. Granted, AJ Pollock is legitimately good, but he fits into this roster extremely well, and they are going to crush left-handed pitching this year. I don't know how you beat them with a lefty on the mound. Good move for the White Sox. And then let's talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers getting Craig Kimbrel. This is a pretty significant move for them. Not that they didn't need AJ Pollock, but they didn't need AJ Pollock. You know what they did need a little bit of help in? Getting a lockdown closer. As much as I love Blake Trinan, I think the Dodgers feel a lot more comfortable having him be a setup man, 7th, 8th inning, whatever it be, and a closer in like emergency scenarios. And grabbing a guy like Craig Kimbrel, who was pretty lights out last year when he was a closer, has that experience, has pitched in big games before. He's a little more solid when you think of a closer 9th inning guy as opposed to Blake Trinan, despite both of them being very good. And I think it's important to note that while Craig Kimbrel did struggle with the White Sox last year, he was so incredibly lights out with the Cubs in the first half. He pitched in a total of 63 games last year for a 2.26 ERA with a whip under number one at .905, striking out almost half the batters he faced, struck out 100 of the 235 batters he faced last year, gave up 2 home runs. He was absolutely lights out, but when you look at what he did with the Cubs, it was actually even crazier, where he had 39 appearances, a .49 ERA, a whip at .7, and there he almost struck out half the batters again, striking out 64 of the 137 he faced. So while he did run into a little bit of trouble on the south side of Chicago, he was lights out in the first half when he was a closer for the Cubs. So I think that's what the Dodgers see. I mean, they're one of the smartest organizations out there. They wouldn't be trading for a guy like Craig Kimbrel if they didn't believe in his stuff and they didn't think he could be a lights out closer again, because of course we know they lost Kenley Jansen. This is going to be their new closer, and I do think, again, as weird as this sounds, just like with the White Sox losing something, I think the Dodgers got better in this trade. They don't need AJ Pollock. He wasn't an integral part to this team, but getting a lights out closer in the 9th inning who can make sure the Dodgers win games when they have leads late in the game, that to me is something that can help the Dodgers solidify themselves as the best team in the National League, help solidify their chances to win the National League West, and make them a World Series contender. I mean, we thought they were all that to begin with, but getting Craig Kimbrel, I think, just makes them a little bit better. And what does this do defensively? I mean, you now have Gavin Lux, who probably gets a little more playing time. Chris Taylor can be like every day out in the outfield. And of course, never sleep on the Dodgers' random prospect that they're going to call up, and he's going to be incredible. Like Zach McKinstry, I'm sure will probably play a little outfield. James Outman's a prospect I want you guys to keep an eye out for. I mean, they just have an absolutely loaded farm system. And a guy like Craig Kimbrel, I think, might be harder for them to get. I don't know. Might be harder for them to get that lockdown 9th inning guy than it would be to find someone who can be useful in the outfield. We know what platoons do. They do wonders for people's career. The Dodgers are smart. This is a good trade for both sides. I truly do believe that both sides improved with this. Despite losing players that were somewhat important on their team, like AJ Pollock made an impact for the Dodgers, and Craig Kimbrel definitely was a good bullpen arm to have for the White Sox. But both of these teams, I think, got better with this trade. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who do you think won this trade? And then some other quick notes to talk about going around Major League Baseball. Michael Conforto still remains unsigned, and we actually got notice from Scott Boras, who told us why. Apparently, Michael Conforto did something to his shoulder back in January, diving for a baseball in a workout, and they apparently said the Conforto camp, including Scott Boras, made the conscious decision not to negotiate contracts until that shoulder was healthy, which to me is such a weird thing to say. Like, are they telling the truth here, or are they lying? And if you are lying, why would you say he got hurt? Because wouldn't that deter teams from using Michael Conforto or going after him whenever he is apparently healthy? Because he's a guy who's had shoulder problems in the past. To me, I feel bad for Michael Conforto. I feel bad for what's going on here, because it seems like we're going to be going into at least May until we see a guy like Michael Conforto land on a team. And of course, the more time he misses, the less money that's going in his pocket. And even though he wasn't great with the Mets last year, he's still someone that I like. He was one of my favorite players at times with the Mets. He was so great for us. But I think this AJ Pollock trade also shines a little bit of light into what's going on there, because Conforto was such a perfect fit in Chicago for the White Sox, and they went out and instead traded for AJ Pollock, giving up a player to do so. So to me, might be a while until we see Michael Conforto on a team, and if his shoulder is hurt, hopefully he comes back soon. And then, not to make this about all former Mets or current Mets, but Jacob deGrom is possibly hurt. I don't like this. He's undergoing an MRI on his shoulder because he feels a little bit of soreness, which is terrifying news to me. Absolutely terrifying. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear Jacob deGrom injury anything, because honestly, my season predictions are coming out on Sunday. And if Jacob deGrom cannot pitch, it vastly changes what I'm able to do. The Mets cannot win the World Series without Jacob deGrom. I cannot stress that enough. Without having the best pitcher in baseball, this Mets team is definitely not as good as I once thought. So I'm going to need Jacob deGrom to be okay. I'm going to need that shoulder to be fine, not only for my video content, but for my brain. I mean, if MLB The Show wasn't out right now, I actually don't think I would have gotten any sleep regardless last night, because all I would have been thinking about is Jacob deGrom's injury and what are the Mets going to do. So hopefully, knock on wood, Jacob deGrom is healthy. He's okay. The MRI comes back clean, and this is just, a little fatigue from missing some time last year and coming back in spring training and throwing 100 miles an hour. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of news. I don't think there's been a significant transaction outside of Craig Kimbrel and AJ Pollock. Again, I'm just going to do a quick little scan through. So yeah, that's what happened. AJ Pollock, Craig Kimbrel. I don't know how I stretched it out this long. I'm delirious. I've been playing MLB The Show since midnight. My eyes are burning. I'm going to be streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description, as well as check out my YouTube channel, Giraffe Neck Gaming, for MLB The Show content on YouTube. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you all baseball long. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links to those are in the description as well. That's where I'll wrap up today's video. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.